Can't make it to the game? We've got your back. Just go to www.IndianaSRN.org and tune in to all of the live action or go to our on-demand service and relive your favorite moments.
This is the Frells family's land. When the sun comes out, the kids run and play right there. This used to be a shed. Now, it's where they get breakfast. This is more than just land. It's home. The Frells family runs with us on a John Deere 1 Series tractor. His land isn't the only thing that should live on for generations. Nothing runs like a Deere. Search John Deere 1 Series for more.
Visit Reynolds Farm Equipment, your hometown John Deere dealer today at reynoldsfarmequipment.com.
Hi!
You're good at making big announcements. We're good at your insurance.
Start with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, online, over the phone, or in person, and stop knocking on wood.
You want a sports degree that is beyond the game? A degree that immerses you from day one and launches you into the business side of sports. With a sports management major from IUPUI's School of Health and Human Sciences, you'll have insider access to sports professionals and will learn from faculty with years of teaching and industry experience. There isn't a better city than Indianapolis to get the experience you need to launch your sport industry career.
From warehousing to transportation and everything in between, Piper Logistics does it all. Centrally located, Piper Logistics has 2 warehouses in Indianapolis and a warehouse in Cincinnati, Ohio. Piper Logistics houses over 1 million square feet. Along with our transportation department, we can provide service to half the United States markets.
Can I help you?
Yeah, I'd like to order a hamburger, fries, salt, maybe a large vanilla shake.
It's a trophy shop, can't you tell?
You got carry out?
Everything that you need, we have here at the shop. Very unique. You order today, carry out tonight, that's our version of carry out.
All right, I'll take one of everything.
Well, that may take a little longer. We'll have it for you tomorrow night.
I'll be back tomorrow to pick it up.
We'll be waiting for you.
Burtner Electric Incorporated has been proudly serving our residential and commercial customers with quality electrical repair for over 33 years. We are fully licensed and insured in electrical wiring and electrician service packages. You'll receive a competitive assessment, whether you're a homeowner or a business owner, first-time or long-time customer. We offer free estimates for any new project. Call our licensed and experienced electricians today.
You want a career that creates experiences that are impossible to forget. By studying sports and events at IUPUI, you'll get hands-on experience in and out of the classroom. And with Indy as your classroom, there are high-profile events, sports franchises, hotels, museums, and large organizations across the city to engage, educate, and enlighten your student journey before you graduate. There isn't a better city than Indianapolis to get the experience you need to prepare you to handle any event, big or small. It all starts here.
At Morales Group Staffing, we are all about building better futures. And during these times, we are working hard to put people to work. We are now hiring for hundreds of jobs with pay up to $17 an hour. Visit our website at moralesgroup.net or text JOBS, JOBS, to 317-472-7600 to apply now and get hired today.
You're good at keeping the car clean. We're good at your insurance.
Start with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, online, over the phone, or in person, and stop knocking on wood.
High school sports fans, welcome back to Game Time. to pure spirits, to pure sport. Welcome back to high school sports.
Fans, I'm IHSA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and I just want to say, welcome back.
This is game time. This is Indiana high school sports. This is your IHSAA.
You want a career that will transform your life while you change the lives of others by helping them live well. With a health or exercise sciences degree from IUPUI School of Health and Human Sciences, you will gain an in-depth understanding of the healthcare industry while preparing you for a variety of graduate and professional programs in health. And with Indy as your classroom, you will have clinical options within leading hospitals right in our backyard, as well as a degree from Indiana University, reputable leaders in the healthcare industry. It all starts here.
Can't get to a computer? Then we've got you covered. Just go to the IndianaSRN app and stay up to date with all of your favorite teams. You can watch live coverage or relive the experience with our on-demand service.
You're good at basement basketball.
We're good at your insurance.
Start with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, online, over the phone, or in person, and stop knocking on wood.
Mortgage Group. I've been teaching here at Guerin Catholic for 13 years. I've been assistant coach also for 13 years. And I think it's important in today's world that we have young people growing up with the morals and values of faith-based education.
Hello, I'm Dwayne Thompson with Integrity Mortgage Group, and I support Guerin Catholic High School because I'm good friends and business partners with assistant coach Tommy Muscari, and any chance I have to support a Christ-centered education for today's youth, I take advantage of that opportunity and support in any way I can with my time, effort, volunteering, funds, and commercials like these.
Together we soar.
Guerin Catholic Sports on IndianaSRN,
where you're always in the game.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Heritage Christian High School. It is Championship Saturday right here on IndianaSRN. Our championship game number one here is the 2A state final. It's the Greyhounds of Carmel at 18-2. They're ranked number 2 in 2A. They'll be taking on the Golden Eagles of Guerin Catholic at 19-0, number 1 in 2A. Today's game brought to you in part by the Morales Group, building better futures one story at a time. By Bertner Electric, your licensed and experienced electrician serving Central Indiana. IUPUI Sports Management, a lifetime of sports with a winning degree. Piper Logistics, 3 service, 1 solution. And by Reynolds Farm Equipment, your hometown farm equipment dealer. Great to have you with us on a beautiful afternoon on this Saturday. Troy Darengowski along with Allie Stork. We're going to bring you all the action here today. If the name Allie Stork is familiar to many of you lacrosse fans, she is the head coach at Marian University, and it's great to have you with us here today. I don't know what Keith is paying you, but it can't be enough to have you with us today. Good to see you.
Thank you so much for having me. This is my first broadcast, and I can't wait to kind of reach the other voices here in Indiana as far as women's lacrosse go. I'm really excited to see the growth of the game, and mostly for this opportunity to be able to talk to you today.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to talk a lot about Marian University, too, and we'll give you a chance to do a little recruiting here today as well. I don't know if that's legal or not, but we're going to call it legal here today. We have a great matchup, I think, in this first game. You talk about a Guerin Catholic team at 19-0, Carmel at 18-2. They played previously this year, and you start looking at some of the numbers, Allie, and there are some very talented players out here.
Extremely talented players, yeah. This is going to be a bit of a rematch between Guerin Catholic and Carmel from a late April contest before Guerin Catholic pulled that one out by 1 goal. It was 11-10 final score, so I know that this is a game that both teams have been excited to replay and really get a chance to kind of show off what all they've been working on this home stretch of the season as we come down to this championship game today.
You know, when you look at the numbers, too, offensively, we'll really key on some of these players here today and get your thoughts on these individual players. But you look at some of the numbers, we're talking about a Carmel team that's averaging over 14 goals per game. And then you look at Guerin, and they're averaging over 15. Do you anticipate we're going to see a high-scoring affair here today?
Extremely high-scoring affair. I think that both of these teams are very high-powered when it comes to their offensive strategies. They both look to push tempo, especially when they're on attack. So you'll see a lot of fast break goals, I'm hoping for, as well as some really solid slowed-down game when it comes down to the attacking side, and hopefully some good strategy out of both of these teams. I'm excited to analyze it.
You know, Allie, one other thing you talk about when you get to championship lacrosse like we're going to see today, you really have to cut down on the mistakes because the other team is so good, they'll take advantage of those mistakes.
Absolutely. When it comes down to it, being a player, when you're on the field, mistakes are going to happen. It's whoever can recover from those mistakes most quickly and take advantage of the other team's mistakes. Seeing the game before, when Guerin Catholic got to this game, they beat Bishop Chatard. It was a 12-7 game, and the score I don't think does it justice enough when it was such a close competitive game between both teams, and Guerin Catholic was just able to minimize their mistakes and capitalize on Bishop Chatard's mistakes. And we're going to see them try and do that again today against Carmel, a team who doesn't make that many, so it's going to be exciting.
Well, we know that everybody loves offense, but there's also the defensive side as well, and then there's those that are in goal today. They're really going to have a lot of pressure on them again with the way these two offenses can operate.
Absolutely. My favorite, as a goalie myself, I love the defense first, and I am always going to be such a big fan of the goalie play. So I can't wait to see kind of the different defensive strategies that happen here. I anticipate Carmel is going to come out with a high-pressure defense. Knowing the way that Guerin Catholic likes to play, they like to slow down the ball if they can't get it off of a fast break, and Carmel is going to have to get up early, and if they can't, they're going to have to play a very high-pressure defense to kind of take Guerin Catholic off of their strategy a little bit.
All right, we'll single out a couple of these players coming up in just a moment. It's Carmel and Guerin Catholic, the 2A championship. All the action right here on IndianaSRN. Back here at Heritage Christian High School, beautiful day today. In fact, light winds, the temperature will be in the low 80s, almost a perfect day for championship lacrosse. I want to remind you, we'll not only have this game, we'll have the 1A game coming up after this contest, and then, of course, one of our other channels today, we have the boys championship games going on up in Hamilton Southeastern. So make sure you tune in around and catch a lot of great lacrosse here today. Allie, let's talk a little bit about these two teams. Carmel, they know how to win state championships. They've got a lot of banners over at their gym, and their head coach Joshua Miller's built a very good team here today, coming off their last win over Evansville Memorial. They got out to a big 10-0 lead in that one and then coasted from there. But we talked about their offense. Let's talk about some of the key players that they'll really need today to get that ball in the goal.
Yeah, we're going to know that Carmel is going to rely heavily on Tori Tamalia. She's a midfielder junior for them. She's actually headed to UConn, a recent UConn commit, which is exciting. But she is definitely their most high-powered player all over the field. She has 80 points on the year. 28 of those points are actually assists, so she's also a very unselfish player. But even more than that, she has 81 draw controls.
Wow.
I'm not sure how that stacks up against the state, but that is an incredible statistic there. So we know that she's going to try and get it off the circle immediately and take it for her team. Following Tori is also going to be Hollis Rang, a senior midfielder. She's headed to Central Michigan, who just made a first appearance in the NCAA tournament, so that's exciting there as well. And Hollis with 61 points on the year. So kind of following up, rounding out that group is going to be Anna Dumke as well on the attacking end. She's very strong statistics as well, but mostly she leads her team in ground balls at 36. She's the one that's going to give them a second chance opportunity whenever somebody makes a mistake.
Big offensive side, but then we mentioned a little bit ago about defense. Let's talk about in goal what we expect today, and it looks like it'll be Brooklyn Jenkins.
Yeah, Brooklyn Jenkins, she's going to come in today. She's had 53 saves on the year, which is pretty good. And knowing that they've played some pretty competitive teams, as well as some games where goalies don't get to play a whole lot. So it's going to be good to see Brooklyn in a game where she is going to be tested, and we'll see if she's able to kind of rise up to the top.
All right, Guerin, a Golden Eagle team that comes in ranked number 1. I would imagine in some ways the pressure is on them a little bit today. They're 19-0 on the season. And again, you look at some of their numbers, it's almost like playing a video game. They got so many points out there to choose from.
Yes, absolutely. Guerin they are trying to cap off a perfect season if they could pull it off. This is their year, their first appearance, and so exciting. You see so many of the parents in the stands today with all matching T-shirts. It's been really fun. But really looking out for Guerin, they're going to rely heavily on Ella Bellflower, number 5. She really leads the team. She's got 71 points on the year. Also an unselfish player like Tori Tamalia. It will be really fun to see Ella Bellflower and Tori kind of match up on one another. On the same kind of vein, Ella Bellflower also has 98 draw controls in the season. So two very, very dominant draw takers, and it'll be fun to see those two kind of match up. Kind of rounding out the rest of the Guerin team, we should also watch for Claire Alec, the junior midfielder. She has 50 points on the year, just trailing Ella Bellflower. But then really who's going to be somebody who's so important for Guerin Catholic is going to be their keeper, Ruth Abdallah. She is a dominant goalie in the state. She's sitting at 61% save average right now, which if you don't know for goalieing, really you shoot for about 50%. So sitting over 60 is amazing. And Ruth is a junior, and she's just somebody who has begun to shine and really kind of lead this team.
You spoke of that last game against Chittard. They won it by a final of 12-7. Claire Alec did have 4 goals. Bellflower had 2. Mariah Ross and Salkick also had a couple of goals in that one as well, so good balanced scoring in that win as well. This is a Guerin team, they've scored 20-plus goals 3 times this year. That's incredible numbers.
Yes. They've had a couple very, very dominant games against some pretty good competition as well. What's really going to be interesting for Guerin is that they haven't had a super close game, and it's going to be interesting to see if we can really test them here down the stretch, especially trying to round out this last game of the season.
Well, it's going to be fun. The winner takes home the trophy, and of course, we're going to talk a lot about all these different players, and there's a lot of talent on this field here tonight. We are going to take a quick break. You're watching the exclusive home of lacrosse championships on IndianaSRN.org.
From warehousing to transportation and everything in between, Piper Logistics does it all. Centrally located, Piper Logistics has 2 warehouses in Indianapolis and a warehouse in Cincinnati, Ohio. Piper Logistics houses over 1 million square feet. Along with our transportation department, we can provide service to half the United States markets.
We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Indiana SRN. Hit the bell to get notifications for upcoming games and more. Watch as many games as you want, as many times as you want.
You want a career that creates experiences that are impossible to forget. By studying sports and events at IUPUI, you'll get hands-on experience in and out of the classroom. And with India as your classroom, there are high-profile events, sports franchises, hotels, museums, and large organizations across the city to engage, educate, and enlighten your student journey before you graduate. There isn't a better city than Indianapolis to get the experience you need to prepare you to handle any event, big or small. It all starts here.
This is the Frells family's land. When the sun comes out, the kids run and play right there. This used to be a shed. Now, it's where they get breakfast. This is more than just land. It's home. The Frells family runs with us on a John Deere 1 Series tractor because land isn't the only thing that should live on for generations. Nothing runs like a Deere. Search John Deere 1 Series for more.
Visit Reynolds Farm Equipment, your hometown John Deere dealer today at reynoldsfarmequipment.com.
At Morales Group Staffing, we are all about building better futures. And during these times, we are working hard to put people to work. We are now hiring for hundreds of jobs with pay up to $17 an hour. Visit our website at moralesgroup.net or text JOBS, JOBS.
We're back here at Heritage Christian High School. 2 championship games ready to go here today. Coach, let's talk a little bit about the keys to this one. Carmel, they've got a lot of state championships. Many of their players have been here before. Great pedigree. When you talk about the amount of players that have gone through this program over the years, what do they have to do to pick up a win here today?
Carmel's really going to have to make sure that they rely heavily on those upperclassmen that they have that have been here before, have been in this position, have tasted success after this game. They're going to be the ones who really are able to lead their team. But knowing Carmel as well, they have got a handful of freshman starters. So it's going to be interesting to see if that youth helps them or hurts them at all in this game. But it'll be interesting to see how Carmel's able to kind of pull it out here. I think they're going to have to be pretty dominant and force the tempo of this game.
And then you look at Guerin, 19-0, looking for a championship here today.
Guerin's going to have to kind of keep those nerves in check. This is the first one, and it's really going to be interesting to see them try and send home a perfect season.
And, of course, when you talk about the draw control, if you can get more draw controls, the more possessions you're going to get. And so we'll kind of keep an eye on that today, see who's going to win most of these.
Yes, the draw control is so important here. Seeing it looks like Claire Alec is taking it for Guerin. And draw controls are always so important. You're going to see a fight on the circle like we are.
Well, we are now underway. Carmel will be in the dark uniforms. Guerin will be in the white uniforms here today. And first possession of the afternoon here for the Greyhounds. As mentioned a moment ago, they are 18-2 on the season. Guerin Catholic at 19-0. Strategy early, Coach, what do you want to see? You're going to be a little bit more patient. Certainly a loose ball available there and a 50-50 ball picked up, but want to be patient on that first possession.
Yes, absolutely. Carmel right now is playing a very patient game. You see they're already setting up Tori Tamalia there. She's had a lot of control over this ball. They're looking to run a quiet offense that is hopefully going to be very productive. This is something that Carmel does really well. And a goal.
Yeah, early goal. That's number 15, Anna Dumke, and a good start right down the lane, and nobody picked her up. And if you're going to play defense, don't leave your goalie open like that much.
Not right there in the middle of it. Anna Dumke just trying to taking that opportunity, realizing that Guerin wasn't prepared to switch off on that pick. And Anna's able to kind of execute that, and a great shot. They're going to need some really good shot placement.
Yeah, Coach, take a look at the replay right here. If we can bring that up. If not, we'll try to get it as soon as we possibly can. There it is.
Oh, what a beautiful shot by Anna Dumke. Yeah, she took that bottom right-hand corner. She saw it coming, and she saw her opportunity and was patient on the shot. That's exactly what Carmel's going to have to do all day.
So back to the draw once again. What a fast start. That happened at 24-12 here in our first half of play. And that, again, really, Coach, shows you how important it is to get that draw control. This one will belong now to Guerin.
Yeah, that one, it was an illegal procedure there on the draw. So it was one that the Carmel stick didn't quite go up high enough. The ball always has to go over the head. So when the ball doesn't go over the head and it's an obvious foul, that's when the other team is going to get the ball in their possession. So Guerin getting it here.
They will work behind the cage, it appears, on this call. I didn't see what exactly the call was right there, but again.
No, I'm going to assume it was a push, so they put him outside the 12.
Yep. So Guerin's first possession.
Oh, and a good shot, but nice save. Brooklyn Jenkins coming up with that first save of the game.
You mentioned Jenkins earlier with a save percentage of just 34.9 coming in.
Knowing she's going to have to come in and really kind of step up for her team here and play a really competitive game. Looks like she's come out ready to go.
Guerin once again.
Oh, they called a shooting space here. I thought that would look like a nice crash by Carmel. But if the player is between the girl and the goal, the person with the ball who's driving to goal, and they're not within a stick length, they're going to call that a shooting space every time.
I think they ended up getting number 17, Kate Strydeski, on that call against Carmel.
Now they're calling a crease violation. They're saying that the shooter stepped into the crease, so now it is the goalie's ball.
So Carmel able to withstand the first offensive possession by Guerin, and quick transition back the other way, but a near turnover.
That was really great heads-up defense in the midfield there. To be able to keep the stick up and continue to run alongside those Carmel girls. A lot of times defenders have a chance to drop quickly and they just kind of put their heads down and run backwards, but Guerin came to play in the transition game today.
So Guerin's second possession, Carter was the one who came up with the loose ball, as Guerin will work in the offense now. And much like what you saw earlier with Carmel being patient offensively, the dive, the shot goes over the goal.
That was a great little take there. Ella Bellflower was getting triple teamed, so she knew somebody else had to be open. Looking forward to Caitlin Carter. Finding Caitlin again in the middle. And another shooting space call on Carmel.
So a couple of mistakes early here by Carmel on their defense. As you see, the clock continues to tick here in this opening half of play.
Caitlin Carter taking the shot. She's been awfully slippery here in the middle, but she's going to have to get in a little bit closer before she takes that shot.
Yeah, she took that a little bit deep, didn't she?
Yeah.
Shot was a little bit wide to the right, but Guerin will hold the possession here. Guerin finding a lane down the middle. The shot again wide to the right.
Great shot by Claire Alec there. Just a little bit more patience on it, but she was able to get around those defenders. Carmel's going to have to start crashing more toward the body here. They're giving these Guerin attackers a lot of space to be able to move and shift on the inside.
I was watching the NCAA Division I championships.
Great games.
Oh, my. Yeah, you were mentioning about quickness in the college game, and, boy, they get up and down the field, don't they?
Oh, yes, they can run, that's for sure. Quickness absolutely kills in lacrosse. You have to be fast.
Guerin, will he find room? Ball is loose. Scooped up. It'll be kept there by Guerin. That's Caitlin Carter once again.
Carmel making the adjustment there to put some contact on their defense. That's what they're going to have to continue to do to kind of keep down these Guerin shots.
Guerin once again will work behind the cage. And the other aspect about the women's game that fans may not know is it's not the physicality as much in the women's game as you see in the men's, but you still see some times where they'll get a check in now and then.
Yes, yeah. So there's a lot of, stick checking rules. However, with the body, when you're playing defense, you have got to touch your player. Otherwise, it's just too easy for these really shifty athletes to run around and create their own little lanes. Kind of like you just saw Claire Alec trying to do again there. And Carmel coming up with the turnover.
Carmel able to pick up the loose ball. Can they advance it? 50-50 ball picked up once again, this time by Sophia Hanna.
Calling some pushing here on Guerin in the midfield. There's another call for it. Guerin's playing a very physical transition game. They're kind of slowing it down here.
With that idea, is that something they played before? They kind of know each other pretty well, that maybe if Guerin can be a little more physical, take Carmel out of their offensive strategy a little bit here?
Absolutely, yeah. So what it does is you really throw off, typically your best ball controllers are going to be your attackers, and as the ball's getting worked down the field, those attackers have to get pushed down the field as well. So knowing that they can play a little bit more contact defense on girls who might not be as confident ball controllers, it can lead to some easy turnovers in the midfield, and Guerin's had a lot of success with that all season long, so I expect they continue to play that tough physical in the midfield.
Carmel gets an opportunity right here, leading at 1-0. Ball is picked up easily there by Abdallah. And now the ball goes out of bounds. Turnover.
Carmel was looking for the assist on the free position shot there, which is more of a high-level skill, which is exciting to see them kind of pull that out. Guerin was prepared to defend it, though. They played really, really nice defense on that.
Pretty good look there at number 21, Tamalia. Again, with 52 goals on this season.
There she is again with the ball behind the cage. Working some draw and dump action here. You'll see Carmel has a very established attack. And they run it well, but it looks like Guerin's done their homework because they're defending Tamalia really well right now.
Do not let her get loose, right?
No. If they let her heat up, it's going to be a hard game to come back from.
Carmel once again trying to find that second goal of the afternoon. Ball loose, and it'll stay with Carmel. Guerin was ready to head to the other end, though.
They were ready to head to the other end. That was an impressive recovery on Guerin's part, though. They were able to get right back into the 8 and mark up very quickly when it could have been an easy man-up situation for Carmel.
This again will go against Guerin. See if Carmel can take advantage of the mistake once again. Try to get up 2-0. Good save again.
Great save. That's the same spot that Ruth Abdullah got scored on the first goal of this game, so she was prepared for that spot. She wasn't letting another one get by her there.
We can see why she has a near 62% save percentage. But here comes Guerin. They are on the run, trying to get their first one of the day. Ball tipped in the air.
Oh, almost a second chance opportunity there for Gabby Thomas.
That'll go against Carmel.
You can see Guerin is excited right now based on Gabby Thomas's choice there. She was wide open between her and the goalie, and they're just going to have to take a breath and be patient on those shots, knowing that they're man up and knowing that they kind of have that opportunity to take a good shot. There we go.
Yep, there's your first one for Guerin. That'll go for Caitlin Carter. That is her 46th goal of the year.
And that's exactly what I meant by being patient on your shots. Whenever Caitlin Carter came in, you saw she had it in her right hand. Her defenders collapsed in on her, and she decided to take that step back, switch hands, and take a much better shot.
Take another look at this one. And, Coach, one thing you mentioned a little bit ago is you see the first goal of the ball game here by Guerin. Nice sweep to the left. They did seem like they were a little bit anxious, and sometimes you try to force things a little bit too much, and that almost cost them on that last possession.
Yes, it did. You can get so excited when it's just you standing there, you versus the goalie, and both of you are fired up one way or the other. It's hard to take that second, and that's really where this Carmel might have an advantage, just knowing that they've been here before. Those nerves might not be here so much for them, but Guerin seems to be working through it.
You're mentioning being a goalie. What is your mindset coming into a match like this?
It's a completely, you know how excited that you are, and you know that this is such a high-stakes game, and emotions are going to be really, really high and exciting. And but as a goalie, you just have to get back into your zone, not let, kind of block out the noise, so to speak. But yeah, you need to just play the game that you know how to play and make the saves you know how to save. But really what it's going to come down to, too, is goalies are so much more of leaders on the field than most people realize. And it's funny, in the college coaching ranks, you notice a ton of them were actually former goalies. It must be something about the bossy attitude. But knowing that they can kind of command their team and they get to kind of help and understand and slow things down when it needs to get slowed down, pump them back up when they need to be able to do that. But really such a cerebral position.
also you see so much more. I mean, you see everything out there.
It's the best spot on the lacrosse field.
Well, Carmel comes right back, and there is Victoria Tamalia.
Yeah, Tori Tamalia, she is expecting more of them on the day. That's what she likes to do right there. A beautiful goal.
Take another look at this one. That one, by the way, less than a minute after Carter scored her goal, and boy, that move to the left. That's almost unstoppable when you look at the position she had with her body and everything.
Absolutely, yeah. She was able to kind of create this little area for herself and a little pocket. It's one of those ones where it was not a free position shot, which is really hard to defend, but it was just outside the 8. So that means that there was a foul between the 8-meter arc and the 12-meter arc, and she gets positioned outside of it. As a defender, it's really difficult to defend those because you're man down on a defensive set, but also you have to crash really quickly because they are so close to the cage. Tori Tamalia knows exactly what to do in that instance.
I love the draw because you have to, the official trying to make sure those sticks are in the right place and so nobody gets an advantage, but Guerin able to win the draw again.
Very clean draw control for Guerin here.
So Guerin, let's see if they can come back. They just tied the game moments ago at the 16:23 mark, but then Carmel coming right back less than a minute later, picking up their second goal.
I expect Guerin to slow it down here a little bit and try and set something out, play a similar game to what Carmel was just playing with them.
That is Alec behind the cage, looking for an opening perhaps on this left side as Carmel again chasing defensively.
Carmel's sending a much higher pressure defense than what they were previously. They've made a little shift here, and it looks really nice.
It looks like they do that little double team out front, force that ball away from.
They do. They're running a bit of a backer, so you'll notice that girl who's kind of running in between the crease right now. She's on number 4 currently, on Claire Alec. I can't quite tell.
Yeah, it looks like that's number 12, which is Popoix.
She's running what's a backer, so what they do is she's able to kind of, anybody who's on the goal or on the ball, she's able to send her player to go play a high pressure defense on the ball, and then if that person's able to get around, she's got their backup. That's why they call it a backer. So it almost looks like a double team, but it's a little bit different.
From the 8-meter here for Guerin. Good defense again by Carmel, able to get the possession away from Guerin. Elizabeth Tamalia in there defensively for the Carmel Greyhounds, looking to win the state championship. As we mentioned, coming into this one, they have a whole lot of banners for girls lacrosse.
Noticing a lot in this game, there have been a ton of free position shots already, or stop clock, like any kind of foul that's been happening in the critical scoring area. So we haven't really seen much of a true set other than that Anna Dumke goal early that was as clean. But I'll be eager to see if we can play some clean lacrosse here and get some nice sets up.
And that might be nerves again early, right? And
I would expect so.
Yeah.
It's easy to make those mistakes, those kind of silly mistakes. And also the coaches haven't had a chance to talk to them yet since the game has started. So I'm sure they're going to have a lot to say to both teams when they get back into their huddles.
Pass was high, intended for Sophia Hanna, unable to bring it down, but Carmel able to keep it in their possession. Clock coming up on the 12-minute mark as Carmel leads it again 2-1. If you just joined us, one of 2 championship games here today. And then, of course, we'll have the boys' championships from Hamilton Southeastern coming up a little bit later today as well. Now, opening on that left wing again for Sophia Mack. Nice opening and a shot and a score.
Carmel's really been working that left elbow hard on that side, looking for those driving opportunities, and finally seeing it. Elizabeth Tamalia, the one coming up with it this time.
So Elizabeth Tamalia, and all of a sudden it is now a 3-1 lead. Here, we'll take another look at it, Coach.
seeing Elizabeth is just able to kind of drive down. She saw, she had one of her players standing behind her, and she played off the pick. So typically what's going to happen is the defenders will choose one or the other to go with, and she decided to play them off of each other and went straight through it.
Didn't have a great angle on that shot, though, did she? I mean,
No.
Somehow she was able to get it in. We'll take a quick timeout. Carmel on top of this one, 3-1. You're watching the exclusive home of lacrosse championships on IndianaSRN.org.
Bertner Electric Incorporated has been proudly serving our residential and commercial customers with quality electrical repair for over 33 years. We are fully licensed and insured in electrical wiring and electrician service packages. You'll receive a competitive assessment, whether you're a homeowner or a business owner, first-time or long-time customer. We offer free estimates for any new project. Call our licensed and experienced electricians today.
Can't make it to the game? We've got your back. Just go to www.IndianaSRN.org and tune in to all of the live action, or go to our on-demand service and relive your favorite moments.
Both teams a chance to get a little bit of a water break right here. As we mentioned, temperatures on the turf are a little bit different than what you're going to see normally. And by the way, there's not an empty seat here today. This thing is, in fact, packed to the point where they're overflowing on both ends. Coach, one thing you and I talked about before we went on the air today is that lacrosse has really gained so much popularity in the Midwest. Talk about that growth, and I think there's just no end to what we're going to see in lacrosse.
No, it has grown so fast and so rapidly. Just within the last about 6 to 7 years, we've seen multiple college programs pop up and even more high school programs. It has really just grown exponentially, and I think it's because there's such a desire on the women's sports side to have a game that is physical and competitive, and it's not just soccer.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of times, here basketball is such a huge sport in Indiana that so many of the concepts of basketball are very transferable to the lacrosse field. So you see a lot of crossover athletes, and you see a lot of young women who are just finding out what the sport is and realizing that it takes a lot of heart, it takes a lot of physical hustle, but it also takes a lot of mental focus, and it's a combination of things that you don't see in a lot of sports.
Yeah, very true. And by the way, you talk about the physical nature of running up and down this field and doing it when it's maybe close to 100 degrees down there, when you talk about the turf and everything. That's got to take a lot out of you, too.
Yes, it does. It is exhausting, and you're going to see these girls physical fatigue is definitely going to come into play at some point during this game, knowing that both teams have a few girls who are their primary people that they're going to go to, seeing how those players like Ella Bellflower or like Tori Tamalia, how they're going to be able to handle playing a full game in this heat.
And you certainly want to have your best out there as much as you possibly can, being the final game of the season. The draw, it'll be won by Guerin, an opportunity to come back here down 3-1. All right, now what do you tell your players as a coach? You're down 3-1. There's a lot of lacrosse to be played, yes, but the one thing you don't want to do is find yourself getting in a big hole.
Yes, you're exactly right. You're going to tell them that you have tons of time and that 2 goals is nothing in lacrosse. You can easily come back from that very, very brief period of time. So if I'm Guerin Catholic in that huddle, I'm telling them that we need to continue to run our offense the way that we know how to run it, and to not make as many, kind of take a deep breath and take a little bit of time on it, be patient with one another, and see those opportunities when they present themselves.
Let's see if Guerin can get one of those goals back right here. As you see, good defense again by Carmel. They switch on this near side.
Carmel's defense has done a great job of switching. I thought that was going to be a shooting space call there. I think that was a little bit of a missed call on Guerin's part, because I think they should have had that one, but that's okay. You'll see Guerin, they really do like to play the ball behind often and like to roll it on the right-hand side. And they also play a lot of skip passes, which kind of creates good strategy as well when it comes to getting those free position shots. But here we go again, another free position.
You said this is kind of unusual to see this many. It may be spread out through the game perhaps, but a lot of these so early.
It is. This is a lot of free positions really early. And we've actually kind of seen that a lot in tournament play so far this year. And I'm not sure if it's something that they're just being a lot more cautious when it comes to, making sure that there's always shooting space, or if it's a strategy on Guerin Catholic's part to keep creating those shooting space opportunities.
Guerin tried to go high on that one, but great play and goal again by Jenkins, able to anticipate it.
Jenkins has been playing phenomenally so far. Oh, I just jinxed her just then.
Yep.
But she has really been great up high in this game, and she can't continue to hold them so long. You know, it's going to have to be on the Carmel defenders to continue to work through that.
Well, they come right back about 2 minutes later to get the goal to make it 3-2. We're going to take another look at it as Alec gets the goal here for Guerin Catholic.
A really great little dodge. You'll notice it's really, really similar to what Carmel just did on the opposite end. What she did is she drove down that line of the 8-meter arc. She kept her stick to the inside, and she used those defenders to pick one another off. So, you know, trying to capitalize on miscommunications on the defense.
So Guerin able to come back and make it a 1-goal game at 10:20 to go here in the first half. Carmel scored first, and Guerin, every time that Carmel seems to maybe get a little bit of an advantage, Guerin able to come back again. See who wins the draw on this one.
Oh, false start on Guerin Catholic there on the circle, so it's going to be Carmel's ball. The girls are not allowed to step into that circle prior to when the ball is released for the draw on the whistle, so just making that quick step there was too much. Trying to go straight down and running the same play again, running down that left elbow there. Carmel's going to get the foul here.
By the way, that was Dumke who was trying to go coast to coast, you might say, and make it a 4-2 game.
I'm not surprised. Dumke is not afraid of contact.
Well, now she's going to get an opportunity from that hash mark at the 8-meter just to the left.
A great choice to pull out. Pretty. That was very, very pretty.
Elizabeth Tamalia gets her second goal of the day, and Carmel comes right back again.
What a heads-up play by Anna Dumke. She went in on the free position shot, and she was looking for it. The defense was able to crash on her too quickly, so she made the smart decision instead of going forward on it to kind of dish it off.
Boy, and that's tough on the keeper, isn't it? I mean, you kind of feel like you're on an island all by yourself.
It is. On the keepers on those shots, especially on those assists when it comes to free positions, is that you're so cued in on the girl with the ball, and you're so prepared for her to take a shot at any point that when they dish it off, you then have to recover and change your feet and move to a different spot. So that's a hard save for a keeper to make, but also what an intelligent choice by Carmel to go with that. And Elizabeth Tamalia knowing to step up there. That was a really great assist and a great shot.
Carmel able to win the draw once again. They will waste no time advancing that ball up the left sideline to get themselves in position perhaps for another goal. That's a smart play right there. Nothing available. Live for another day, right? Get yourself an opportunity.
Yeah, you're going to see that a lot in both of these teams play similar kind of lacrosse when it comes to, there's a push there at near the end line, so she's going to go behind. This sets up a very, very brief moment of having a man-up attack. So it'd be interesting to see if Carmel chooses to do anything with this or just kind of run it out. Looks like they're going to run it out, take their time.
Yeah, Carmel, you talk about Guerin a little bit ago, getting a little physical down on that end line, trying to gain an advantage, and it may have cost them, but just like you said a little bit ago, they decided to play through it right here.
Yeah, sometimes those little plays like that are worth it. You know, you might get called for a little push, but just kind of knowing and maintaining contact. I would rather a girl put a little bit of body on it and get a small foul like that as opposed to not making any kind of contact. That's the difference between a really high level of lacrosse and more of a developing level.
You know, one thing we haven't really talked about so far is you get a chance to see these players quite a bit being here in the state of Indiana and around the Indianapolis area and just how good lacrosse is here. Do you even have to leave the area to get your kids? Or
You know, it's funny. The vast majority of my roster's from Indiana. What a great save by Angela there. Another one on that bottom right-hand side. Really pretty. You're going to see now, same thing that Carmel did earlier. You'll see Guerin Catholic is going to try and run. They're going to push it here in the transition game before they slow down the ball. So look for them to look at the cage first and then try and set up a little bit.
And that always means heads up, eyes up. You got to see what's ahead of you all the time.
Yes, because you never know. It could be, you could have a man-up attacker at some point. You could have somebody who's wide open in front of the cage. So you got to keep your eyes up when you have that ball and notice any of those opportunities. That's about capitalizing on the other team's mistakes.
So now we'll see Guerin back on the offensive side. Hey, I want to remind everybody, you can watch the replays of all of these matchups because you're going to hear what Coach has to say because she's doing a heck of a better job than I am. And I tell you what, it's going to be a lot of fun to go back and watch all of this.
Yeah, well, and you notice that that's kind of talking, too, about, the growth of the game and Indianapolis lacrosse in general is that having this opportunity for the girls to be able to go back, watch themselves play on film. Film is invaluable. A great shot there by Bellflower. Another patient shot. She waited for the goalie to move before she took the shot high. That's the patience that Guerin's going to have to come back in this game. Or, well, they tied it up.
Actually, it's 4-3 on that one as you take another look. Yeah, what a great play. High on that one, and that's a tough one to defend, too.
It is. You notice she caught it. She could have easily gone to kind of the goalie's top left side, and that's where I think Guerin would have done. They would have shot that about 5 minutes ago in the game, but choosing to go back to the opposite side where the goalie's not and taking the patience and making a really great shot, that's going to be the game difference here. And that's what you expect out of Ella Bellflower, somebody who has, such a dominant performance all season, 71 points on the season coming into this game.
Well, we're starting now to see that high-scoring game, as you talked about, Coach. You thought maybe the way these two teams can score, that once they settle down a little bit, you saw the first goal at about 24, but now we're seeing one about every minute and a half, 2 minutes.
Right. And noticing, too, not a free position on that last one, which is exciting. So, kind of having the opportunity to let them play a little bit and let them kind of set up their offenses and get into a groove. I think both teams had some nerves, and that played a factor into the low scoring here at the beginning, but I expect some explosive attack here to happen soon.
So Carmel back on the offensive side of things, now leading it by 1. A lot of contact there, and a whistle will stop play.
Be interesting. Okay, the officials called it as a push. I think that's one of those ones that could potentially go either way. It could have been called a charge. When the Carmel player, Hollis Rang, when she was going, it looked a little bit uncontrolled. And that's one of those tacky areas where the officials have a hard time. Is it a push, or was the offender in an uncontrolled drive?
Well, you speak of Rang, that is her right there at that hash mark. At the 8-meter, her attack, and nice play in goal.
Yeah, good save. That was she had the ball high. She kept it high. Wow, a second great save, too. First the high save by Ruth, and then the low one. You see she's fired up there in goal.
We said a great crowd here. They're split down the middle, by the way. We've got Guerin on the right side and Carmel on the left side. So you're going to hear them all afternoon. As again, a great crowd here this afternoon.
And two back-to-back incredible saves there by Abdullah. She had 14 saves against Carmel the first time that these two teams matched up, and really was a huge difference maker in the game. So we expected that out of her today as well.
Guerin quickly pushing that down the field, but now they'll set things up in the offensive end, and they'll try to tie this one up as we're coming up on the 5-minute mark in this opening half of play. After this one is over with today, you want to stay around because we have the second championship matchup. And that one should be a good one as well.
Yeah, really looking forward to that second matchup as well. The 1A class against Evansville Central versus Heritage Christian. Heritage kind of defending their trophy, and Evansville Central making their first ever appearance.
When you talk about a Heritage team, look at their numbers. I know we'll talk about that later, but wow.
Yeah. So talk about high-powered offense there as well.
Guerin?
It's fun to see how much the sport's grown, too, to even just talk about these high school teams and saying that they have a high-powered offense is not something I think I would have said about 6 years ago watching these high school games. So it's been amazing to see the development of these girls and kind of seeing the future of the sport here in them today.
You speak of the transition as a player coming in. If you're a really good athlete, you can learn this game. And I'll give you an example. I remember years ago, a couple of basketball players in a team that I covered went to Northwestern. They try out for the lacrosse team, and they were national champions, and they both became All-Americans.
Yes, that's, I've got 2 players on my roster right now. We're all conference that came in as basketball players. So that's, or soccer players as well. So really such a transferable sport. And it's one of the things, too, that's making this game grow so quickly is I think prior to this game, people will look at it and be like, I don't know anything about lacrosse, or, oh, it's too expensive, or, oh, it's got too many rules. And now they're looking at it and they're seeing just the athleticism and how the ball moves and how similar it is to other sports that you see all these parents are getting more into it now. Yeah. And you see we've got more officials and we've got, other people who are watching the sport that never would have prior unless their daughter was playing.
Guerin on the move. That one hits high off the post.
That's a goalie's best friend right there.
That's right. But it got a little charge you and you hear that ping off there, don't you?
It does. Yeah, it means she's aiming. That's a good thing as an attacker. Sometimes you want to beat yourself up for hitting the post, but it means you're aiming for the corner, so it's a good thing.
3 minutes remaining in the first half. Carmel, back the other way we go, trying to build on the 1-goal lead. It's been close the entire afternoon. There's a little shove right there. Boy, I tell you what, Guerin is not afraid to put a little shove on now.
No, they will. They are going to bump you a little bit. They're going to run side by side, and a lot of times if those arms aren't extended in women's lacrosse, then they're going to let them play. So, that was just a little one there to kind of slow them down and not let that fast break goal happen. But, yeah, Guerin is doing a really nice job of playing contact lacrosse in the midfield.
We have a timeout on the field. We've got a good one going here. 2:31 to go in the first half. We're going to take a quick break. You're watching the exclusive home of lacrosse championships on IndianaSRN.org. We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, IndianaSRN. Hit the bell to get notifications for upcoming games and more. Watch as many games as you want, as many times as you want. We have already seen an excellent first half. Do not go away, because I have a feeling, Coach, this one will come down to the very end. Unless one team finds a way to, even though they've seen a little bit of movement when you talk about Carmel getting a couple of goals ahead, but they just can't seem to hold on to. Give Guerin credit.
It's absolutely, we knew that that's what Guerin was going to come in. They weren't going to just roll over and let Carmel run away with this game. And the thing with lacrosse is that it really is a game of runs. We talk about it all the time, and momentum is a huge factor, but momentum changes quickly and often. So making sure that, anytime that a team's going to go up, it doesn't matter how far up a team is, really. Yeah. Any talented group can come back very quickly in lacrosse. But both teams are still playing a patient game. It'll be interesting to see if they decide to start upping the tempo a little bit here.
Let's talk about Marian University women's lacrosse. I'm going to give you an opportunity. How many years have you been the head coach, and talk a little bit about where your program is right now?
Yeah, I just wrapped up my second year as the head coach, heading into my third, and I have to shout out my players if any of them are listening. They are the heart and soul of everything we do, and they are the ones who just work so hard, and I just always say how blessed I am to have them, because they're the ones that they've created a program that they love, and they work extremely hard. They eat up every bit of coaching that I can give them, or my assistant coaches as well. They do a great job too. And but yeah, we finished up a pretty tough season this year. We were in a conference that sent 3 teams to the national championship tournament. So wow. We had a little bit of some battles there in our own conference, but heading into next year, we've got 9 incoming freshmen, which is huge, and wow. We didn't lose anybody. We had no seniors on the team. So what was a really young team last year, and a small team, we're moving into going to be a little bit more of a veteran team now with a lot of players. So we're excited for the future of our program. And we talk of a national championship often. I think seeing UIndy kind of pull theirs off, Indianapolis is a lacrosse city now.
It is.
And I am excited to be on the precipice of it.
Well, I'm still trying to, maybe we can convince somebody that knows the people, and we can come over and do some of your games. That'd be kind of fun, wouldn't it?
I can't wait. Yeah, that's what we were talking about. We're like, second we can get some of those, any sponsors out there that are interested in broadcasting any of the Marion women's lacrosse games, we would be so happy to have you.
There is nothing better than supporting your high schools and local colleges. There's to me, no better way to spend your money.
I completely agree. It's got to be. And just filling into these young women who have worked so hard and might not always get the recognition that they deserve. And it's been great to kind of see, 50-year anniversary of Title IX and really kind of see the equity that is going into women's sports now and the growth that it's had. Seeing young women now prioritizing wanting to play college athletics and especially college lacrosse. We've got a couple already committed players on both of these teams and some already committed juniors, which wasn't happening before in Indiana. Another great high save by Abdullah.
Well, that was it. She was left one-on-one in that island right there. Good passing by Carmel, but she did a great job on another nice save.
Yes, she was. I already know Coach Miller over there for Carmel is probably yelling about shot placement. I can hear him from here.
We're down to 1:30 to go. Let's see what Guerin can do right here. Can they tie it up before the half?
Alec with the ball. We know that, she's going to look to go if she's got any energy left, but I do think that fatigue's going to start playing in here a little bit. As you see, she slows it down, decides to set up some offense.
You can kind of see the body language there a little bit.
Yes.
Huh?
Yeah, that's going to be a big factor here. And part of the strategy for these coaches is how are they going to be able to play at a high level but also give their best players some breaks? These girls are not going to be able to run for 2 hours.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Well, I'll tell you what, they may be playing this out here with the last 50 seconds to go.
Guerin is really good at the a little bit of the stall game. They will get up on other teams and kind of wait, so they are very confident and poised when they have possession of the ball. I expect them to play that here and kind of wane this clock down a little bit before they decide to take it.
Both teams really have passed the ball well today, too, overall. I mean, early it might have been a little bit shaky, but now they seem to kind of settled in there.
Yes, both of these teams, and really that's making the difference here of the higher level lacrosse in the state is stick skills, and it's always going to come down to stick skills. I'm sure my team is rolling their eyes at me right now, but that's...
We've heard that before, Coach.
Yeah, they're like conditioning and stick skills. It is going to come down to who is fast and can run the fastest for longest, but also who can maintain possession of the ball, and Guerin's doing a really great job of maintenance right now. They're looking to push it here. 2 seconds left.
Well, they will not get an opportunity right here unless... Yep. We have the two officials coming together. We may not be done with the first half yet.
There was a flag that came out of the official. That means that there was a foul that they were waiting to play out. And if they don't take a shot when the foul... when the foul comes out, that means... that they're going to get set up for a free position shot. Looks like the officials are still talking this one out a little bit. But we'll see. I believe it's Claire Alec there with the ball. That's exactly who Guerin's going to want to have the ball, either her or Bellflower, in this position to tie the game.
You saw the two officials coming together to talk about it, and you mentioned Claire Alec is lining up.
They've pulled out head official John Sherman here to talk about this one a little bit more. I'm curious to see what the official's conclusion is, if the foul was prior to the clock running out and they're going to add some time.
Well, we will wait and see again, those are the officials that have gone to the sideline now to talk.
Our officiating staff has done a nice job today. I think they've been able to keep the game safe, but also let the girls play a little bit. And there's been some contact, which is exciting for the sport a little bit.
Yeah. So when you are on the sidelines, let's find out a little bit about what you try to work the officials. I don't think you do this much. Do you work the officials a lot, or?
Oh, it looks like they're going to add 1 second.
They are, yeah.
1 second onto the clock. And that's enough time for a shot off a free position. So we'll see how Claire Alec's able to handle this pressure here.
You know, I noticed you dodged the question, Coach. Do you work the officials?
Yeah, well, it's funny. I'm actually of the mind, and I just told one of my assistants this the other day, that the officials are going to outlast you, and they're going to outlast the players in the game. So all of this officiating staff today, I know them well, and you're going to see them. All of us are trying to do the same thing for the sport. We're all trying to grow the game in the same way, and we all have a passion for it. So truly, you have to show a lot of respect to them. But you better believe I let them know when I'm unhappy. I don't let them off that easy.
You know, this is on tape now, so you can't get rid of it, Coach.
Oh, I'm sure. Yep. Ann Leasty's down there. I'm sure she goes back to watch this at all. She'll giggle at me.
So it looks like they only have .2 down there. Is that what they're going to put it at?
Yeah, it would be enough for Claire Alec to just be able to rip a shot right away. She's going to have to shoot hard, and it's something that she actually did earlier in the game. So we know she likes to do it, and now she gets another shot at it.
Well, we will have gone for the longest stretch right now of, unless she scores here, almost 7 minutes without a goal by either team.
This is a great moment, too, for Brooklyn Jenkins. Really a step-up moment for her as well. And the save for her.
Yep.
Being able to stand her ground to keep her team on top headed into the half. That's going to be a big piece for them and their motivations moving forward.
Well, what a first half it was. You saw Carmel get out to a quick start. They scored first, and then Guerin Catholic came back to tie it up. And then what was kind of interesting before we take our break is that Carmel got 2 straight. They scored 2 straight quickly, but then Guerin came back. They scored 2 out of the next 3. So, again, Guerin, an undefeated team coming in. You have all the pedigree that Carmel has coming in. Is it pretty much kind of what you expected?
This is very much what we expected out of this game. A close game. It's a bit lower scoring than I thought it was going to be. I can guarantee both coaches right now are just talking about shot selection.
Yeah.
Both teams have been able to get in front of the cage, but I think that those nerves and playing a defense that's crashing on you much quicker has played a factor to these shooters. So the shooters are going to have to take a little bit of time here, compose themselves, and make really great shots going forward. That's what's going to be able to kind of bump this score up one way or the other.
Well, you know what? We got to put the fault on them. They went 7 minutes there. At the end, they didn't score. I mean, Coach, come on. They were scoring every couple of minutes.
I know. That's what you got to make sure. You have to score. That's the thing is, at the end of the day, you can do everything great, but it's the team who puts the most balls in the back of the net at the end of the day. It is quite that simple. So
we will take a quick timeout. It is 4-3, Carmel on top. It is halftime. You're watching the exclusive home of the lacrosse championships on IndianaSRN.org.
Conductor, how about something new? You played this last year.
Come on, get your head out of your sacks.
Shh, we're trying to hear. Well, I'm sick and tired of hearing your kid play the wrong notes. Where's my kid's solo?
At least you can see your kid. Why is my kid stuck way in the back?
The conductor only plays his favorite.
My kid heard that solo.
You saying I did?
Yeah.
I'm Keith Myers, Vice President of IndianaSRN. Thanks for joining us. Do you know IndianaSRN broadcasts 350 games a year? All sorts of sports? Yeah, we do. Hard to believe, isn't it? IndianaSRN loves to put student athletes first on our website. If you're a business out there, we probably could help you too. Contact us at coach@IndianaSRN.org. Grandma from out of state thanks you. Mom and Dad who can't get to the game thanks you as well. In fact, our athletes watch the games over and over again. Our military has enjoyed the games as well. So sit back and enjoy the game. It's IndianaSRN.
We're back here at Heritage Christian High School. Both teams getting their final instructions before we get underway in the second half. By the way, we have high school baseball going on today. The regional matchup from Morristown. I think that is now underway. We'll try to check that if we get an opportunity to bring that information to you. In about an hour and 40 minutes will be the first game of our boys lacrosse state championship matchup. That'll be the 1A matchup, and then we'll have the 2A championship following that, and all those games on IndianaSRN.org. But today we're here at Heritage, and Coach, I'll tell you what, good first half as we mentioned a little bit ago. We've seen things go back and forth. Now as a head coach, players look to you. If they see you panic, they'll probably panic. If they see you calm, they're probably calm as well. So really there's no reason for either team right here to feel that anybody's out of this one at all. So what do you say to your team? Let's start first off with Guerin. They keep coming back, but sometimes they always say, how much more can you come back? So what did they do in the second half?
Right. Like you said, staying composed as a head coach is the most important thing. You know, always making sure that if you have that air or that aura of confidence around you, the rest of your team, coaches believe in their team more than anybody else. So constantly showing them how much they believe and how much they know that they can win this game is extremely important. And for Guerin moving forward, you know, really what they need to talk about amongst their team is keep doing what they do well. They've been defending in the midfield extremely well. It hasn't produced a ton of turnovers in the midfield, but it has created some, and I think it's made Carmel work just that little extra bit harder. So making sure for Guerin that they continue to kind of push that midfield transition that they're successful in. And then on their defensive end, they have done a great job of crashing on Carmel so far and really kind of shutting down some of these better these better attackers that we thought we were going to see out of Carmel. You know, in this game, we've seen 6 different goal scorers so far. Only Elizabeth Tamale has scored twice. So that's one of those things that, you know, Guerin has had a lot of success in. Now, things that they need to improve on, it's going to have to be their offensive control. Something that Guerin is so good at all season long is they push fast breaks. We haven't seen a fast break goal yet.
Yeah.
And then also, whenever they are down on attack, staying composed but continuing to move. You'll notice with Guerin is that the person with the ball and maybe the girl next to her, they're doing a lot of work, but the off-ball movement just doesn't seem to be there the way that it has for games in the past with them. Yeah. It could be a heat as a factor, so working together is going to be a huge point that they're forcing.
We're going to take a quick time out. We'll come back. Second half action is coming up in just a couple of moments. You're watching the exclusive home of lacrosse championships right here on IndianaSRN.org.
We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Indiana SRN. Hit the bell to get notifications for upcoming games and more. Watch as many games as you want, as many times as you want.
By the way, we had mentioned a little bit ago, we're going to talk about Carmel here in a second, some of the things you want to see them do in the second half. But the one key I thought you mentioned early, Coach, and I think we're starting to see that a little bit because the pace did kind of slow down a little bit, is they're having to play the full time because you want all your best players in there. They're not getting much of a break.
No, they're not. It was something, you know, from my own position, you know, I would have given my better players kind of a break here towards the end of the first half. But Guerin didn't have that option. They weren't able to pull anybody out because they were still digging themselves out of a hole. So really kind of seeing at some point here fatigue and players needing a break, and the next about 10 minutes into the game is really going to start playing. So seeing how the coaches kind of handle that, and if they're willing to balance out those teams and see some players from the bench potentially come and step up.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about Carmel. What do you want to see them do in the second second half?
Carmel, they've been doing a really nice job of finding looks and finding one another for assists when it comes to, on the attacking end. They looked originally when they started the game for a lot of drives, and Guerin Catholic seems to be stopping the drives really well. So they're going to have to keep keeping their heads up and finding one another, and they are seeing it. So just seeing that kind of the final piece of the execution there and really great shot selection. What will be interesting to see with Carmel is the last 5 games that they've had, they've won by over 10 goals.
Yeah.
They haven't had a second half that they're fighting for. So it'll be interesting to see how Carmel's able to come out in this game, and are they able to pull it out here and fight the same way in this last 25 minutes?
Well, as you mentioned, 25 minutes and a state champion will be crowned here this afternoon. Guerin able to win the draw.
Ella Bellflower, of course, they put her back on the draw itself, which they didn't have her there to start the game. So looks like they're trying to get the ball on her stick a little bit more often.
Boy, we saw both teams really able to share the ball extremely well so far here today. We talked about that passing earlier, how it really kind of settled down too.
It did. It's as those players take a deep breath and realize that though this game, sure, it's a state championship, it's the exact same as every other day when they're on the lacrosse field, practice game or not, that you just have to come out and play to the best of your abilities and hope that they can carry you.
Behind the cage, Guerin able to work it inside the 8, and another shot just a little bit wide to the left.
That was a pretty good take. She was going high and then looked to shot low, and it was a pretty good opportunity. The Carmel defender had fallen down there for a second, so she knew she had that little lane. It was a smart take.
See Guerin closest to the ball when it goes out of bounds, able to get it right back, so they'll stay with the possession.
What we're going to need Guerin to do is when they're playing this backer defense, it means that the rest of the players are technically a man up. So if they start sending some double cuts and having that movement on the off-ball side, they're going to see a lot more success. I haven't quite seen it out of them, so I'm hoping that they start sending those cutters from the backside opposite of where the ball is. Those girls are going to be open.
Well, I was watching some of the defensive players here for Carmel. Well, they got to have their head on a swivel, don't they? You got to know where everything is.
They do, yeah. When you're playing in this backer defense as well, it's really, really important that everybody else has to constantly have their head on the ball, on your girl, and in the middle. Because if somebody's open in the middle, she's got to get covered. So, yeah, you have to be constantly looking around and head on a swivel. I'm sure you've heard a lot in the women's game.
I'm not sure, Coach, I could play because there's too much pressure. I'd melt in the...
I'd melt just from the temperature out
there.
Right.
It is a warm afternoon, and I think we're pretty lucky, though, that it's not a little bit warmer than it probably could be.
It could definitely be warmer, and a lot of these girls are looking at their club seasons, and a couple of our practices have already started, so they're ready for the hot years of lacrosse, hot days of summer here. That's what's fun about the sport, too, is you really can play year-round, and there's a lot of opportunities here to play year-round if you choose to make this your primary sport. But myself recruiting high school athletes, you like to see dual-sport athletes or multi-sport athletes. I think they're just well-rounded there. That was a pretty big push there by Tamalia and Bellflower.
We had a few thousand officials down there call it too, Coach.
Oh, so yes. All the parental officials as well.
That was pretty obvious on that one.
Yeah, what you'll notice too is Tamalia, she extended both of her arms straight out in front of her, had those elbows kind of locked. In the girls' games, you need to keep those elbows, kind of with a little bit of a cushion in them. You can't extend your arms into the girl. It's just a bit of a dangerous contact. So it was one of the points of emphasis this year for the officials as well, so they're definitely looking for it. And anytime that it's really, at least in the college game, if it's in the back or the neck, it was considered an automatic yellow too. So Tamalia could have gotten a little bit lucky there.
So maybe Carmel catching a break, but right now, you look at a Guerin team who's again being very patient.
Guerin is very poised when they have the ball. They are able to maintain possession extremely well. You're starting to see some backside cutters happening here. Gabby Thomas has done a really nice job of kind of popping in and making some circles there around the cage. And Carmel's been able to keep her covered so far, but Guerin seems to be figuring it out a little bit about those backside cutters.
By the way, that might have been another one on Victoria Tamalia. By the way, Tamalia, if you see her, she's got all the black stripe down the sides of her cheeks. It's a little intimidation there, huh?
Oh, I love that in the game. That's so fun. Technically, I don't think they're allowed to do it anymore, but yeah, when I was in high school, we were doing the same thing. We always had all the black all over us. I'm sure my mom loved cleaning that off of my jersey.
Guerin almost lost the ball, but able to keep the possession, and they have held on to this thing for a long time.
They have. I mean, they won the first. They've had it for nearly 5 minutes at this point, and that's really the dominant stick skills here that they have. They've been able to maintain this ball and haven't made a mistake yet. They're just trying to figure out this defense, but.
So from a standpoint is now they might get their break right here, and they do.
And it was off of the assist. Bellflower's assist to Claire Alec. That was beautiful. She saw Claire Alec pop up there. She was a backside cutter.
I was about ready to say, Coach, that when you're chasing on defense as much as Carmel was, that's got to wear you down too.
It is. That a 5-minute stand of defense just is exhausting. Here it is. See the drive here. She pops back out, notices the offside cutter. They're man down on that side defensively since they had 2 people on Bellflower, and that was just a really heads-up play to know Alec was going at that point. That just shows, they probably have a lot of chemistry between the 2 of them.
Tied at 4. This is the second time we've been tied since you go back to the 16:23 mark of that opening half of play when it was 1-1. Every time that Guerin had scored a goal, Carmel had come right back. Now that's the key too we've seen here today, where Carmel gets scored on, except for the last 2, of course, but then they've come right back and scored.
Right. Yeah, they've been able to come back, and both pretty quick goals as well. So, being able to turn it on right when they need to is something that Carmel's always been able to do.
Carmel able to win the draw this time, so let's see, they're back on offense for the first time, it seems like, in a long, long time.
Yeah, I'm sure the Carmel defenders are very happy with their midfielders right now for giving them a little bit of a break. 5 minutes is a long set of sevens in lacrosse. That is an exceptionally long amount of time to stay that focused, too.
Yeah, and I don't remember the last time. I've called a few lacrosse games, but I don't remember 5 minutes. It doesn't happen very often, like you say.
Well, it's very rare, and, that's one of those things I love about college is we have the possession clock, so you only get 90 seconds in our game.
That's right.
So it's, it forces you to do something with the ball, where I know there's been a lot of talk about the high school game, and, they're calling a crease violation on Tamalia here. To me, it looked like she was pushed into the crease. Okay, they're calling offsetting fouls, a push on Tamalia as well as a step into the crease.
Yeah, I think she got pushed from behind myself.
She was definitely close, but I don't think she would have gone in had it not been for the defender.
So a break perhaps there for Guerin Catholic.
Calling it an offsetting foul, so it's going to Guerin since they had the possession.
Well, that is a break there for Guerin Catholic, able to get possession.
That was a break for them. Now let's see Carmel's transition game. They've had plenty of time to set up how they like to play their transition and see if they're able to kind of stop looks like a defender who just wants to run here.
Yeah, that's Emma Smith.
Yes, there she goes. Oh, and a turnover there. Carmel coming back with it.
Able to come up with a loose ball. That time was Megan Hauser. Megan's got to be a good player because she's redheaded.
There's always one on every team.
Isn't there?
Every team has one redheaded great player who's
and there's
fast.
Only 2% of us left, so you got to.
I'm sure you're always a little partial to the redheads.
Yes, I am. So now Carmel back on the attack once again. Pass was high. Able to hold on to it once again. Good look there at Victoria Tamalia. Carmel, by the way, has not scored since the 9:33 mark of the first half.
That is a long drought for Carmel, and what a low-scoring game. I'm so surprised. I thought both teams were going to try and push tempo here.
How much do you go back to that first matchup and think about, well, what could we do? What can we do? Do you watch a lot of film on some of this? And
I would. I'm not sure at the high school level how much film they're doing. I hope that they would be. But, yeah, I would just be eager to see, where were our mistakes? Did they force them or did we do them to ourselves? And how can we improve those mistakes?
Carmel not very clean with the ball. There's a turnover. That's Claire Alec once again, and she's off on the races.
There she goes. One-handed down the field. That's a really confident kind of style of running there. And see, this is a more mature Guerin team than what we would have seen in the past. Typically, it would have been Alec continuing to run straight and going for a shot there. So you can tell they're starting to play a little bit of the possession game that they like to play. You'll notice all those attackers are taking some big steps out. That means they're providing themselves a big gap between themselves and their defender so that they're then able to kind of keep the ball here. Where we saw down on the Carmel end what just happened is they were playing in really tight. And the second that you bobble the ball and it's really tight, it gives the defender a chance to kind of get a turnover.
You know, you're mentioning a little bit ago about the physical nature of this game right now, getting up and down the field, and you saw Claire Alec kind of go hands to knees there for just a little bit.
Yes. Yes, she did. She and you don't get to see that a lot in the game, but when you get one of those breakaway plays, Claire Alec, they're going to call that a check across. She held her head, so it'll be interesting to see if they pull the card out here or not.
Yeah, she caught one, I think, right up on the goggles as she was making that cut.
Yeah, refs must not have seen it to the head. She held her head a little bit there for a second, but if you get checked in the head in lacrosse, it's considered an automatic yellow, so the officials must have seen it more of across the body. There's another one. Wow. I think that looked really kind of like a similar defensive play, but not a call.
Really good stick-on-stick defense as you see Tamalia trying to get rid of it, but good defense by Guerin.
Gabby Thomas coming up with it. That's one of those moments there, any of my friends right now that are listening are going to laugh, but I call it ball never lies, where I think Claire Alec there, that free position, it was another cross-the-body check, and she lost that ball, but they were immediately able to kind of get the ball back, so ball never lies.
Yeah. Coach, if you ever get into a situation where your players don't believe what you're saying anymore, just have them coach your team for a day.
Oh, yes.
See what they do, right?
Oh, yeah. Usually you get, it's one of those things, too. I look back on my playing days and how critical I was of my coach, and now I'm sure
they were right the whole time.
I understand it.
So now Guerin still, again, we saw that last possession they had when they went nearly 5 minutes or around the 5-minute mark with that possession, and they're going to make Carmel chase again right here, trying to gain a 5-4 lead.
You'll notice what Guerin's doing is they're keeping the ball high up here. What a great saw Hollis Rang there. She went out for that interception. She saw they were telegraphing those passes up high and kind of being lackadaisical with them, and she tried to go for that interception, and I figure that's what Carmel's going to have to do here. They are going to push the tempo of Guerin and not let them eat away this clock.
And they will force her to go back as Rang committing the penalty that time. So again, Guerin.
You'll notice what Guerin's being able to do now. They're keeping the ball up high, looking for potential driving opportunities high, but they have a lot of cutters now coming around the crease. So that's what's going to be able to help them when it comes to kind of playing against this backer defense.
Well, they're going to have an advantage here for a moment.
They call the 3 seconds call there, so the defender's not allowed to sit in the 8-meter for more than 3 seconds without being marked up.
That ball skips low. It went high-low on the shot, but unfortunately nothing there for the Golden Eagles. They'll set it up once again.
A couple good takes. Seems like something on this end of the field, but when Carmel are shooting down here and now when Guerin's shooting down here, but all these balls keep going wide on this goal for some reason. Maybe something with the sun.
That's right. We wouldn't call it the wind. It is blowing that way a little bit.
Yeah, there we go.
Coming up, in fact, we're just under the 14-minute mark.
Carmel's playing tougher again here. And a shooting space opportunity for Ella Bellflower. That was a really, really pretty play. I think it was Gabby Thomas down behind the goal was able to set her defender up, and she cut right behind, right at the right time to kind of get that shooting space call for Bellflower right as she was driving. That was a very mature play by Gabby Thomas.
See if Guerin can take advantage. He went low on the shot. It went wide. You know, I was watching Hollis Rang and Victoria Tamalia talking after that last penalty was called, and just a little communication between the two of them, trying to make sure they know where they're going.
Yeah. It gets difficult. So they knew, Ella Bellflower has the ball, and she's that close to the goal. You want to send more than just one defender. You almost want to swarm somebody like that, and I'm sure that was part of their game plan. But you also, at the same time, you don't want to get picked off on it. So here you see Hollis Rang against her again, where they probably have that markup, that matchup specifically, but you need help on defense, but you don't want to help too much.
Well, we're looking at another very long possession here for Guerin. If you had a time of possession statistic here in the second half so far, it is all Guerin.
I'm not surprised by this play at all. This is what Guerin's been able to do all season long.
Once they work it behind the cage and nothing available there, they'll bring it back out. High pass and almost taken away. But
that was a missed opportunity there for Guerin. She was wide open in the 8 and a fantastic cut from the backside.
There's another.
There she goes.
Yep.
Hollis Rang got the second time.
Turnover by Guerin. Here come the Greyhounds again.
I expect Carmel to try and push it. If I'm Carmel, I don't want to play the same kind of game that Guerin's playing against me.
Yeah, you can kind of tell they do want to run a little bit more, but they just don't seem to be able to get in that next gear.
No, they're not transitioning the ball anywhere else on the field at the moment. So they're really just kind of keeping it high. Oh, that's a big cross-check there.
Yeah, big time.
Can't do that.
So that'll go against Guerin Catholic. Opportunity here for Carmel.
Yeah, and that one, the defender has to keep moving their feet. They can't just run forward. They have to break down their feet before they get to that spot, and their stick has to be up a little bit. But that was a bit of a strong cross-check there. We'll see if Hollis Rang can pull this one out.
Rang straight away. Shot low, and another nice save.
A beautiful save. It was a nice take, too. Hollis Rang was able to get in there well ahead of the Guerin defenders. I think fatigue's starting to set in for Guerin. But a great save by Ruth Abdallah.
Well, she's done a fantastic job today, and you see why her number is 135 saves coming in. And now Guerin back on the offensive as we come up on 10 minutes remaining in this 2A championship matchup.
Yeah, Carmel did what I expected them to do there, is try and push the tempo.
We do have a timeout. I think it was Guerin who called the timeout right here. We're going to take a timeout as well. You're watching the exclusive home of Lacrosse Championship right here on IndianaSRN.org.
You want a career that will transform your life while you change the lives of others by helping them live well. With a health or exercise sciences degree from IUPUI School of Health and Human Sciences, you will gain an in-depth understanding of the healthcare industry while preparing you for a variety of graduate and professional programs in health. And with Indy as your classroom, you will have clinical options within leading hospitals right in our backyard, as well as a degree from Indiana University, reputable leaders in the healthcare industry. It all starts here.
Can't get to a computer? Then we've got you covered. Just go to the IndianaSRN app and stay up to date with all of your favorite teams. You can watch live coverage or relive the experience with our on-demand service.
Well, both teams get a much-needed break, and now we're down the backstretch. 10:38 remaining, and we're looking at what could be the next goal. Coach, could be the winner the way this thing has gone down the stretch here.
It definitely could be the winning goal. Since we've seen it. It's been a slow goal or a low goal scoring game. That last one though, that was a really smart timeout for Guerin to take. Coming back down, wanting to. I assume they're going to try and maintain possession again and try and eat away some of this clock. But their players were looking slow back on that transition when Carmel had the ball, as well as on the crash. So fatigue looks like to be setting in a little bit sooner for Guerin than it does for Carmel, and that might bode well in the favor of Carmel here, especially with the tied game. So if I'm Coach Miller over there at Carmel, I'm starting to put in a couple subs, let them run really, really fast, and really push this tempo, play an even higher pressure defense than what they're already playing in their backer.
Should I remind everyone, as we said in the pregame, this is a Guerin team that's averaging over 15 goals per game. Carmel averaging over 14, both, as you can tell by looking at the scoreboard, and my math is correct. The education I got says we're well under the scoring averages of both teams.
Yeah, this is really, really a shocker. Carmel has not scored less than 5 in a game all season, and only once did they do that. Otherwise, they have been in double digits in every single game. So, I mean, this is a position that Carmel is not used to being in. They've had some really great shots and great attempts, but they haven't quite gotten them past the Guerin goalie.
Well, here we go. 10:38 remaining. Who will crack first in this championship matchup here this afternoon? 1 of 2 in our lacrosse championship coverage here from Heritage Christian High School. We have the boys championship games going on at Hamilton Southeastern. All 3 of their games, including their club championship game, also on IndianaSRN.org. We have seen a Guerin team that has been extremely patient here in the second half, and it paid off in their last possession to tie this one at 4. Can they take the lead here? Nice dive to the inside. Whistle stops the play, and Guerin fans are very happy as it looks like we'll get a shot right here from up top, or are they going to, it's going to be hash mark to the right.
That little crease roll play to the skip pass, that's something that Guerin did very successfully against Chittard. So I expected to see that a little bit more up until now. So I think Guerin's starting to turn it on and wanting to score more now than just kind of playing with the clock. So we'll see if they run that play again. But it is something that I have seen them run very confidently in the past.
Trying to go high on the shot that time.
Oh, a slip and a fall there. Ball's out.
Could be, and it is a turnover there by Guerin. It was Catherine Constantino, who had fallen down on the turf. And now Carmel in transition the other way. High pass at midfield and a turnover.
There's still a player down. Both of those players, they were both jumping up for a ball. So it's not really a foul since neither one was egregious. They were both really looking just to go for that ball. An unfortunate hit on both sides. I hope that she's okay.
Yeah, I think she caught one in the throat area. At least she was holding right at about there.
That was a really aggressive hit. And, that's where when people say women's lacrosse isn't a tough sport, that is, yes, it is. But, and that's one of those hard ones, too, where nobody's at fault. They were both jumping for the ball.
You never notice it's the ones who don't play the sport tell you how tough or not tough it is?
Constantly. You'd be amazed at how many people who don't know women's lacrosse tell me about it.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
But seriousness, I'll invite you to practice. We'll show you how tough it is, right?
Yeah, right, exactly, yeah. Actually, I'll just put you in goal real quick. What a turnover there. A beautiful midfield stop. She is by herself and off to the races. A low shot and a beautiful save there. Carmel's in the crease again. Looks like a push after the shot. Both players are pretty upset. What a massive, massive save.
And we got a yellow, don't we?
A yellow card, yep. A yellow card on the Carmel player.
That could be huge.
It looked like she, when she was going for the shot, when she took the shot and the save came up, it looked like a little bit of a push by the Guerin player, and that's what she was upset about. And the no call, I think, she was in the crease on the ground, and they called her for the foul. So a lot of very high emotions here, especially in the state game, and getting a yellow card. Now we see it out of Josh Miller on the sidelines, too, the Carmel head coach, upset with that call.
Yeah, he is very verbal on this one right at the moment and may have an argument for sure.
I think he does have an argument there. Here we go. This is, again, ball never lies. We'll see what they're able to come back with. But Carmel's now man down for this next defensive set. The good thing is when they run their backer, they play as if they're man down the entire time. So expect them to have a pretty strong man down defense as well.
So Guerin back once again where we've played at this end of the field quite a bit here in the second half. And if I'm not mistaken, and again, my numbers could be off, we've only had one goal here in the second half between both these teams. It was 4-3 at halftime, but neither team able to get much going offensively.
Well, that last shot by Carmel absolutely should have been a goal. That's one of those saves you have no business making, but Ruth was able to come up with it. What an impressive save on her part. That's where I wish we had replay for goalies.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm a little biased, so...
Well, we can get our producer to give us a replay on goalies from now on, okay?
That's the hard part about a goalie. If they make a save, the game's still going.
That's right. So now Guerin, an opportunity to take the lead, and they do.
Another little patient shot there. She just dumped it right over top of the goalie as soon as she kind of moved on that fake. A very, very patient shot.
Guerin has scored 3 unanswered. Boy, great move back to the inside.
And yet another one, free position. Another free position goal.
Was that Sousey? I think it was Alexandra Sousey who scored that goal. Am I correct? Number 36. Let's see if they give us the number here. Oh, Susie, excuse me, Susie. Pardon me, it was Susie, not Sousey. What did I say Sousey for? I've got the name written down right here.
It's almost as if you don't have 2 full rosters here to memorize.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
I'm not quite at that level yet.
5-4. This is now the first lead by Guerin here this afternoon. They have scored 3 straight, and they have held now Carmel scoreless since that 9:33 mark in the first half. And the draw won by Guerin.
Wow, you can hear the Guerin fans fired up here for their team to take that lead and to win this next draw. Here is where I expect Guerin. They're still man up, I believe, for a little bit of time. Carmel's currently offsides. They're going to get that call, I think.
Yeah, it was blown very quickly, too. Susie's, by the way, the one that also came back with that draw win there by Guerin and quickly pushing it into Carmel territory to try to perhaps get another quick one. But again here, I think 7:18 is a little too long to hold this thing against a good Carmel defense, but we saw them run 5 minutes in the earlier portion, so why not run another 5 here?
Yeah, right now they absolutely can do it while Carmel's man down. The second that Carmel adds this even player in, you can see her over there on the sidelines getting ready to run in. It's quite out of your view at the moment, but she's coming in right now. Yep. They're sending that 7th defender ready to go. Tamalia's coming over the line now for defense, and I expect them to put on a very high pressure here. This is the moment where as a coach, you're telling them, just fight through the fatigue. Every single thing you've worked for all year long comes down to right now putting on this high-pressure defense.
Well, they really chased that time, forcing Guerin.
No surprise. They're really going to push out here. I'm surprised they're not pushing out more and playing marked up more out wide.
Well, that clock will be their enemy here pretty soon as we're coming up on 6 minutes.
They're really locking down those players on either side of Bellflower, and Tamalia's got her here as well. So this is going to be a good pressure defense here.
Ball passed
and a turnover.
Yep.
That's what Carmel's looking to do with that high-pressure defense. They're going to force you to make passes you might not feel comfortable with a player standing in your face. So, that's something that now they just have to capitalize. When they get the ball, they need to capitalize.
At some point, do you want to take a timeout here and try to set something up that...
I would probably transition the ball. I would call a timeout if they look like this transition's about to get too scary. So right now, Guerin's doing what Guerin does really well is swarming the ball. Carmel needs to send it to the opposite side of the field. The other side of the field is where they're going to have more space and less players, but they keep coming and running up the same sideline. As a coach, I'm calling a timeout here. But nope, they're figuring it out. The whole bench is telling them to run up the other side. You can see them. That is hilarious. There it goes. Yep.
Yep, finally got it across midfield, and now Carmel.
Sam Starchy, she's streaking up there.
See the clock down to 5. Yeah, she was getting it down there quickly.
She's a very quick defender, so I'm not surprised. Just put it in her stick and let her run.
Little head nod that time by Dumke, who scored the game's first goal. And
she's setting something up here a little bit quietly. Those nonverbal cues are so important when it comes to this game. A great catch there by Hollis Rang, able to keep her team in it without any uncaused turnovers.
Well, that would have been big right there, losing that one.
Oh, I'm sure she's relieved she caught that.
So let's see what Carmel has in store. Almost lost another one.
Nice little weave here. It looks like they're trying to set up some big driving lanes. Some right-handed shooting lanes as well. All right, now taking it behind the goal. Oh, and a nice little...
Well, the player went down. No whistle.
A no call on that.
That was Dumpke.
I'm surprised. I think that was a bit of a push in the back of Dumpke there. She was open, and Guerin Catholic kind of pushed her out of the way for that.
You can hear the Carmel fans with their displeasure over that non-call.
Oh yeah, these fans are they're not happy here with a lot of these pushing calls that are not getting called. Seems to be the same way.
Uh-oh, opportunity right here.
Great recovery defense there by Carmel. Able to keep her from getting a shot, even though she had the ball right in front of the goal.
So now Guerin, 3:29 remaining. Trailing the entire game until the Susie goal at 7:44 here in the second half.
Carmel has to give every single thing they have here. They need to get this ball back. You see they're sending 3 defenders. As much energy as they have, too, they're sending them.
Boy, and you want to talk about getting tired, that chasing will get you eventually.
It's a constant sprint. It is exhausting, these poor girls. But this is what a state championship comes down to. Really, who has the most heart? Who is going to work the hardest in this game?
By the way, Victoria Tamalia called that time, but the clock under 3 minutes.
You see Tamale on the other side of the restraining line right now, catching her breath. I'm sure she'll switch soon at some point. Get some fresh legs in there. Carmel's just going to keep, they're going to run alongside them. This is a great fight that they're putting up right now.
Guerin at this stage knows they don't have to score again if they can run this thing out.
That's what they're probably going to look to do. I wouldn't risk a shot.
Well, they're chasing again and unfortunately can't catch up with Constantino.
They might have her here in the corner. Oh, she breaks out of it. Spoke too soon.
Under 2 minutes.
There's Elizabeth Tamalia. She's coming out ready to play.
A few of the fans wanted a whistle there, and now a little bit of frustration perhaps on the side of Elizabeth Tamalia.
Yes, definitely. The fatigue and frustration are starting to set in when you know the clock's getting down.
Oh!
Yeah.
Pass inside and the goal scored. And that may do it right there.
It'll be interesting to see this first draw control if Carmel can come up with it. I expect that, for Carmel, this might be the best option. They were not having success trying to play that runaround game, but now they've got a 50-50 shot on the draw.
This is Izzy Agati. Yeah, number 22. Yep.
Izzy Agati's a great player. That was a really smart choice. She just planted herself in front, took a nice, good, low shot around where the goalie was. But again, for Carmel, this might be a really good thing. Even though it's a low-scoring game, they've got the potential to get the ball right here, and they can score really quickly. A minute 30 is still a ton of time in women's lacrosse, especially when it's only a 2-goal game.
Down 2, we'll take a timeout. You're watching the exclusive home of lacrosse championships right here on IndianaSRN.org.
After the Marine Corps, I was diagnosed with PTSD and became homeless for 15 years. Like a hermit living on the street, I just existed. I came to Wheeler Mission. Wheeler operates on a culture of kindness. Going through their programs reminded me that my meaning in life is to serve God. God set me free from anxiety and depression. Before Wheeler, I just existed, but today I live.
You're taking a look right there at Guerin Catholic. They have scored 4 unanswered. They now lead at 6-4 with only 92 seconds remaining. So off of this draw, Coach, you got to score very quickly. You can't take a whole lot of time and give Guerin the ball back, because if they do, they're going to do that again. They're just going to hold on to it.
Yeah, right now Carmel is saying you have got to get this draw control and you need to immediately go and set up your attack. You'll also notice, too, the officials are meeting right now as well. I'm sure that they're trying to talk through some of these contact plays that have been called. It's been a bit inconsistent calling-wise when it comes to what's considered kind of a push and what has not been considered a push. I would say especially in the critical scoring area. It seems to be they're calling a tighter game outside of the critical scoring area, and they're letting it happen in front of the goal, which is different than what you normally see out of officiating. So it'll be curious to see kind of how that plays, if they're going to really stick to that here with the last minute and a half to go, because that is going to have a huge factor as this game goes on. And I'm sure Josh Miller's thinking that right now in that huddle with Carmel, kind of ready to get in there and score and hopefully pick up some calls that I think have been missed.
Well, let me ask you that from just a coaching standpoint. When you're looking for consistency in how the game is called, be a little hard to change that this late, right?
It is, and that's the hardest part. And as a coach, you tell your team, you're like, okay, this is what they're calling, and here's what we need to do. If they're calling, tight in the midfield, slag off in the midfield a little bit. But if they're letting it happen in the critical scoring area, maybe you can put a little bit tougher in there.
Yeah.
So, being able to kind of play around the officials as well when it comes to strategy, that's a huge piece of this too. So, really, Carmel needs to get this first draw control if they want a chance to stay in this. I think if Guerin gets it, they can play that keep away a game again, and clock sure ticks a lot faster when they're playing keep away.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Certainly seems like when you're behind, that thing just goes faster and faster in your head. It just doesn't go quick enough.
No.
And the weird part of sports that you deal with. By the way, for those that are watching up in the Noblesville area, if Guerin wins it, sure they'll have a nice celebration coming up a little bit later today. The boys are in action later today as well. What a day that would be, huh? If they took home 2 state titles.
Taking them both would be exciting for the schools. Anna Dumpke here on the draw for Carmel, as well as 2 very speedy players for them on the circle. You know that they're going to try and put it out. They're going to try and fight for it here.
And they are anxious
Sending
to get
it to
in there.
Tamalia. No surprise. That's exactly what I would have done as well. Get Tamalia the ball off the circle and get it over the line.
Boy, look at her hold it high above her head to keep Guerin's defense away from it.
Yeah, really great kind of control there of the ball for her. It's a bit of a risky position. Wow. And a goal for Carmel, quick.
Yep, there it is. That was number 3, which is Sophie Mock.
A beautiful fast goal. We saw that took about, 20 seconds?
Let's
20
see.
seconds on the dot.
Yep, sure did. Here's a look at it.
There it is. Look at that nice little drive. She pulls both defenders. Yes. Oh. She even still had an option there, too, of somebody else on the crease. Really, Carmel that was a beautiful little setup for them. Able to turn on the Jets right at the right time. I expected that out of them as well.
Boy, how big is this draw now, Coach?
This is very, very big as well. You see they have the exact same setup. So they got Anna Dumpke here. It looks like she's going to try and push it high to Tori Tamalia in front of her. And then they've got a really speedy player there, too, out of Sam. What's Sam's last name? Sam Sturgey.
I got to look, too, Coach. There's no doubt.
I actually know her. She plays Indy United with me, and shame on me. There's just so many of them. There it is again. Another one. Dumpke to Tamalia. Two beautiful draw controls there for them.
Huge here late. Carmel trying to tie it. Loose ball.
Loose ball. She's got to keep it. There she is. That speed, really showing that speed. Oh,
another goal by Mock.
Same thing. Oh, beautiful topside. Both of those goals were just strong rips.
Wow. Here's another Mock, 2 in a row, and we're tied at 6.
A nice heads-up play here to be able to get that feed there. She was covered. Mock had a defender on her. They were pretty stick-to-stick. What a tight window to kind of send that feed, and Mock to catch it and confidently shoot another one topside. Beautiful goal.
17 seconds between the last goal Mock scored and this goal. They have scored 2 within a matter of 37 seconds.
You see Carmel just moved too. They put another person. They matched up now evenly on the attack and defense side, where before they had an extra defender behind the line. So I think they're going to try and do the same thing on the draw here. Tamalia was in a worse position that time. Guerin played it nice.
Guerin
Here they come.
Wins the draw. Constantino looking to put him ahead, and they do!
Wow.
Right back again with another huge goal as Guerin takes the lead.
There's my fast break goal I was talking about.
There you go.
They only waited until 43 seconds left in the game, but that is something Guerin has played well all year round. You're going to see the player come down here. She's running straight ahead. It forces the defenders to play her, which leaves a girl open down behind the crease. And what a nice shot, too.
By the way, that was within 12 seconds. We have seen since 1:32 4 goals scored in the last, less than a minute?
45 seconds or so.
Yeah.
No surprise. I told you a minute and a half's a lot of time in lacrosse.
Boy, no kidding. And they probably heard what you said earlier, not a whole lot of offense. We got some scoring to do here.
Yeah. It'll be interesting here. It looks like Dunkey's still taking the same drop, forcing it to Tamalia. She was a little too far to her right-hand side that time, so now she's pushed herself the other side again. See if they can get this one off. Dunkey taking it herself. Ella Bellflower coming up with her self-draw. That is something Ella Bellflower does really well.
Again, Guerin, here a lot of commotion going on with 39 seconds remaining as Carmel chasing. It was Ross who scored that last goal at 43.5 to give him a lead. What an ending to this one with just 23 to go.
What an incredible last couple minutes of lacrosse here. Both teams coming out strong, wanting it. Yeah, there we go. There's some Carmel trying to go for it. A little uncontrolled and ran into the player. But again, that's one of those calls where they're both going for the ball. So it's really a no foul. A good check here in the middle. A little bit of a hold on that.
And it's going to go to Guerin. It's over.
Wow. What a beautiful game by both teams.
And there you see the celebration.
How exciting for the Golden Eagles. Their first appearance and first win.
Wow.
Amazing.
How often do you see a finish like that, though, huh?
I'm glad that it came down to that. I'm glad that both teams gave everything they had. Carmel can go home, heads held high, knowing they forced it to be a really great game. And wow, what a finish.
Well, if this is an indication of anything else we're going to see the rest of the day, you better stay tuned in because that was wild.
Yeah, that was only the first of two games that we have. So we're gonna be excited too to see this next matchup. But wow, Guerin pulling it out, and truly that stall game that they're able to play, dominant possessions is what made the difference, as well as outstanding goalie play. I would love to see how many saves Ruth Abdullah came up with.
Well, this will be one to be remembered when you thought about what was happening, and then Guerin scored that first goal to tie it at 20-11. We didn't see anything in the offense again for another 13 minutes, and then we went another just over 6. So it was kind of, and then boom, 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 boom. That's just crazy stuff.
Right. That's lacrosse. Some games are slow and patient, and other games you're just going to really force the tempo and push it a lot. So. I think both teams were probably reserving themselves a little bit, and then they knew they couldn't any longer. They knew that last minute and a half there was no time to reserve. They were going to leave it all out there.
We're going to see the winning goal right here before we leave here this afternoon of this 2A championship. This was it, Coach.
That is just such a nice textbook fast break offense kind of little game there. So that player being able to run down, pull the defender off of the low, and then being able to kind of feed. There's the goalie there. We can see her for Guerin Catholic. Just an outstanding game. We knew she was going to be a huge factor for them.
Well, Guerin, they are the champions of 2A in girls lacrosse in the state of Indiana. As mentioned just moments ago, their first state championship. Congratulations to the Golden Eagles. Great ball game here today. Great strategy on both sides as well, and just overall, just a lot of fun to watch. And hopefully for girls lacrosse, this is a great example why if you don't play the game, you ought to come out and try it, right?
Absolutely, yes. Please come and play the game, see the game, ask questions. If there's somebody that is playing, you see it more often now in Indy where there's just kids tossing the ball around in the backyard. So please take an opportunity to pick up a stick if you ever get a chance. It's such a fantastic sport and really, really fun for me to be able to call with this today. Thank you for listening to me on my first ever broadcast. This has been a blast.
Great job, and we appreciate it as well. Don't go away. Coming up in, I'd say, probably 30, 45 minutes, we will have our second contest. It'll be Heritage Christian up against Evansville Central. Thanks to the entire crew for joining us here today. Thank you as well. Again, Guerin Catholic wins the state championship. They win it by a final of 7-6. This has been High school lacrosse right here on IndianaSRN.
I know Josh is mine. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, no.